To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review of Visceral, Between the Ropes of Madness. Written and directed by Felipe Aluti, Visceral stars all of these lot. A washed up boxer who finally gets his big break to prove he is worthy of the champion's gloves becomes a vessel of pure evil and a relentless instrument of destruction of the human flesh. Is he Hell's next champion? Visceral was a film from Chile that I haven't heard that many people talking about, but then I saw the poster and I thought, yeah, that looks fun. Although, I have been fooled before. Some online describe it as a bondage splatter film, and 6 of the characters on IMDb are listed as tortured women, so it'd be rude not to. One problem I have with my copy though is there's a watermark in the bottom left hand corner that says for film festivals only 2013. It was bought from the Unearthed Films Vimeo page, so it's all legit and just makes me wonder if the DVD has that watermark as well. If not, someone should probably take a look at that. Also, could you make 29 needles available for purchase there? I really want to cover that movie and I can't find it anywhere. If you want to find more of the Unearthed Films catalogue at a super affordable price, go to their Vimeo page, which I'll link below. There you can buy quite a few films and download them directly to your computer, or if you're just curious, rent them for like half the price. I'm not earning anything from this plug or affiliated with the company in any way. Not for lack of trying. I just think it's a great resource for you to see some of the best examples of extreme cinema on the market at the moment, so like I say, click the link and check them out. And also comment on their and tell them that I sent you, yeah? Maybe then Stephen Byro will email me back. Why won't you be my friend? Are you a fan of blood, confusion and ropes? Well, you're gonna love this one. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $2 a month. With YouTube being YouTube, the Patreon is literally the only thing that keeps this channel going and a roof over my head. A lot of people use that as a figure of speech, but believe me, it's true. On the Patreon, you'll have access to almost all of the uncut reviews, plus other cool stuff like the Discord and episode 1 of my new podcast, Where the F***'s My Sequel. On the first episode, I have my oldest friend in the world, Calvin Gillum, as we sit down to talk about Jason X and then pitch our sequels. I really love my sequel, but his is out there. I was not expecting him to go there, mate. The audio version is going to be everywhere that you can get podcasts, but the only place to see the video is going to be the Patreon, apart from episode 1. I was thinking about maybe putting that on the main channel just to promote it, but I'll see how I feel. But anyway, all that can be yours for as little as $2 a month. We've also got a fundraiser going at gofundme.com/the big studio upgrade. Basically, I want to upgrade the studio so I can start doing horror game streaming and other stuff like that. If you want to see that content, then please go to the GoFundMe and donate anything, big or small. And finally, if you're not interested in any of that but still like the content, please click subscribe, leave a like, and comment what your favorite thing is to do with a rope. My choice? I don't want to talk about it. R.I.P. David Carradine. But anyway, I'm in the mood to watch a man's mind melt into murderous goo, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to meet a protagonist who likes to bind, who likes to be bound. This is Visceral, Between the Ropes of Madness. The movie begins with a quote that reads, "It was very simple. I saw them in the same way. A beast contemplates the lambs. Anatoly Onoprienko." Cut to a boxer wrapping his hands. We see a quick shot of some ropes and then hear the sound of them tightening before cutting back to the boxer. Cut to him hitting the bag, standing up and telling himself he can do it. And then we cut to this woman in a spot of bother. The boxer drops down a heavy bag and in the other shot continues to throw hands and tell himself he can do it. And as he throws these punches, we see them connect with the woman who's bound and hanging.
You will.
It's dark as f***, but I really love that editing choice. We're only a few minutes in and I'm already getting great first impressions with this one. The boxer starts pulling ropes out and we again cut to him hitting the bag while seeing those punches connect with the bound woman. Cut to him getting some water on his face as the title card pans across the screen. Listen, I don't want you to get too excited here, but I think we might actually be onto a proper good movie. I know. Cut to this manager offering the boxer a cigarette. He says he doesn't smoke and the man tells him he knew he'd come back.
Por fin tu gran pelea. Tenía el espíritu, weón. Ahora podéis tener los guantes de campeón, pero entrenando.
He tells the boxer that this is his big chance, that everyone is going to be watching and not to disappoint him. The boxer says he'll give it his best and the man replies, "You better." Oh, and if you're waiting for me to make a joke about the boxer being Jake because he's bald, I'm not going to. He's a boxer. The only thing I've ever seen Jake fight is the urge not to punch his stepson in the face. To be fair to him though, the kid is a real He doesn't watch these anymore. I don't know why. Cut to the boxer at some other point in time, smoking and drinking. We're going to be flipping through 3 main points in time for the duration of the film, and you're going to tell at what point in the future we're going to be at by the length of his hair and beard. I'm not going to refer to him as beardy, hair, no beard, or bald. That'd be long. So just use your eyes and you can work out where we are, okay? Can't do everything for you. His hand starts getting all shaky when he suddenly rushes to the bathroom and throws up in the sink. Lovely. He looks at himself in the mirror for a bit before popping in another cigarette and sipping more of his drink. He then gives himself a pep talk.
Te creí mucho, ¿verdad? Parado ahí con tus putos guantes blancos. No eres más que una basura.
I give myself a similar talk every morning. Listen to me, you sad c***. Today's gonna be different. This time, you're just gonna get it over with. No crying, no vomiting, and above all else, when all is said and done, you are not gonna what's left. Okay? Okay.
Please don't hurt me. I'll subscribe. I'll subscribe. No. Jonjo, please.
He calls himself garbage once more, and we cut to him now with a beard in a lift behind this woman. She gets off at her floor and the boxer presses his number as we see her door number is 1408. Is that a Stephen King reference? If not, it's a hell of a coincidence. We see the boxer still in the lift and the doors closed, but when we cut back to the woman as she searches for her keys, the man attacks. Cut to him hanging out on the sofa naked and covered in blood. Then back to him opening the woman's throat and her dead body. Cut to the boxer doing some push-ups and then to him walking under a bridge with a chunky hammer. He rocks up to this sleeping homeless person and pulls their cardboard covers away from them before breaking their knees. And pulling their teeth out with pliers. Good lord. The man tries to crawl away, but the boxer steps in and ends his suffering. Cut to these two arguing as the boxer's ears ring with the screams of his victims. We then see the memory of a bound woman bleed into the image. He approaches the couple and reaches into his pocket when we cut to the woman with a rope in her mouth. She comes to, finding herself tied up and facing her boyfriend who's had half of his face torn off. Which she takes just about as well as me waking up super hungover next to your mum. The boxer then shows his blade, rips open the man's shirt, ties the victims' faces together and takes his pound of flesh. Cut Cut to the boxer running on train tracks. He slows down and catches his breath for a moment when we get this far away shot, and then cut to him drinking. He gets all twitchy when the rage starts to take over once again, and we see an image of him naked and covered in blood. He then makes his way over to the wall and starts smashing his head into it when someone intervenes. Cut to the boxer all tied up when he's joined by this absolute nightmare woman. Introducing Miss Challenge. The woman starts whipping him as she says she is the putrid and painful sores that fall upon men with the mark of the beast. She is the one who destroys the body and eats into the minds. She is Judas, son of Christ, and now the boxer's flesh is hers. He will be her tool. He will bring her souls. Women, am I right? Cut to this bar as the boxer sits next to a guy rocking out. The rocker gets up and the boxer finishes his drink before following after him. He joins him in the bathroom and punches him so hard in the back of the head that several pints of blood explode out of his mouth, somehow hitting the boxer in the face too. The boxer looks at us for a moment and steals the man's jacket as we cut to him working out. We once again see him throwing water on his face and looking at himself in the eye when he leaves, and we're back to him drinking and raging under the surface as the nightmare punches him over and over. We see him tied up, and holy mother of God, look at the state of this face. The right eye is the size of a grapefruit. He asks when it will end, and the woman replies, "This hasn't begun." Cut to the boxer back on the sofa as next to him the woman is still tied up to her now rotting boyfriend's corpse. And it sounds like she's throwing up but unable to get it out, having to swallow it back down again, which is just delightful. Presumably sick of having to listen to this, the boxer gets up and allows the woman to vomit. Cut to him now smoking on the sofa at a different point in time. We see shots of him naked and covered in blood doing push-ups as the rage once again starts to take over and the woman appears to punish him. Next we see him tied down as the nightmare woman forces his tongue out of his mouth and asks if he thinks a tramp will be enough. She tells him she needs more and nails his tongue to the wood. Cut to the boxer watching this guy looking frankly terrifying. He starts to follow as we cut to him looking at himself in the mirror. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw that scene, it made me literally shit my pants. The boxer looks at his ruined hand and we watch the shards drop into the blood-soaked sink as he picks them out. Cut to him bringing a couple of lady friends back to the flat. He pops one on the bed as in the background we can see an unconscious man and drags the other girl in. He repositions the woman, puts the man on the bed and then ties them together. The woman wakes up and starts to panic when the boxer joins her, pulls out this iron rod and skewers them both. Look, movie, when I said I wanted to see this woman do double penetration, this isn't what I meant. I will still masturbate to it, I just won't enjoy it as much. I will though. That's one thing I guarantee. I will reach completion. Just try to listen next time, okay? During this, the woman on the ground wakes up, sees the blood flooding out of the bed and gets the fuck out of there, unfortunately finding the door locked. And if you pause this scene just right, you can see up her top. Listen, it was a deliberate choice by the filmmaker to put the camera there to cast someone with preciosas tetas and then make sure she wasn't wearing a bra, so don't give me the side eye. She runs into the kitchen, grabs a knife and tries to cut this person free when the boxer appears behind her. She stabs him, but he grabs her by the face and we cut to her now tied up. He then removes the knife and drops it on the ground as the woman cries and we cut to the boxing manager. Cut to the nightmare woman as she turns to face us. She comes closer as we see the boxer has been tied to a bed. She then grabs his and says, "Now you will feel me," before climbing up to him like a sexy Silent Hill creature.
¿Te gusta sentirme por dentro? Te quiero mi sexo húmedo y pestilente.
Yes, I do. The woman then stands up and shoots a ton of period blood right into the boxer's face and mouth.
Esta es mi sangre, sangre de la alianza nueva y eterna. Entregará poder a vosotros y a los elegidos para derramar sangre en este mundo.
And there goes my boner. So the ropes, leather skirt and mask are all fine, but the mouthful of cervical lining isn't. Interesting. Cut to the bound woman now sands her rotting boyfriend. The boxer gives her mush a look, then unties her, allowing her to flop to the ground. He then drags her out of frame and we cut to her now playing the part of the boxer's punching bag. Ah, so she was the woman from the start of the film. I love non-linear storytelling. Don't you, punching bag lady? Oh, sorry, you're busy. I'll give you a minute. Sometime later, the woman is passed out, so the boxer drops her on the ground and goes to get his mallet just in time for the woman to wake up. We see her brief journey to this moment when it all comes to a violent end. But brain blood in the face is fine. My d is a bad feminist. I'm learning a lot about myself today. Next, the boxer grabs a handful of broken mirror from the sink and lays it on the ground, picking his favorite part. He wraps himself up a nice handle, inspects it, and we cut to him standing in the street waiting for the man. He steps out and the boxer watches him as he walks away. Cut to the nightmare woman, who I'm weirdly attracted to now, whipping the boxer, telling him he's become so much stronger. She says his suffering isn't over until she wants it to be, and we cut to him at a payphone. He dials and we cut to an apartment where a woman answers and it's revealed to be the boxer's mother. He tells her his big fight is in a few hours and she reminds him he nearly died the last time he fought. She calls him a loser and he says fighting is the best thing to do, the thing he likes to do. He tells her this is his big chance and he's nervous, but she tells him not to contact her and that she hopes he gets killed so she can rest in peace, cursing the day he left her body.
Pero mamá.
I had a similar conversation with my dad about starting up a YouTube channel, except there was a lot more of him calling me a c*** throughout. It's all good though, I wasn't really listening. I was too distracted by the extreme amount of dried cum around his mouth. It looked like somebody was icing a birthday cake and gave up halfway through, you know? Happy birthday to my dad, I guess. Cut to him in a lift and then to a woman in the hall when she's captured. The boxer binds her like usual and wakes her up before heading to the bathroom. Next we see him go into the fridge where inside he finds a woman straight chilling. Chilling! 'Cause she's in the f***ing fridge! The boxer rips off her ear and eats it as we cut to him wrapping his hands for the big fight. He tells his manager he's nervous, but the man just tells him not to fuck it up. He says it again as flashes of the manager talking to someone else about the boxer pop up. Cut to the boxer exiting the bathroom and turning on the light. Some time has passed and you can tell by the woman's multiple facial wounds and the fact that her mouth has been used as a ashtray. He shows her what she looks like in the knife mirror, then goes to her back to cut himself off a nice chunk of flesh. He shows her the piece of herself before stopping her whinging once and for all. Silence. So much better. Cut for the third time to the boxer waiting for the man. We then see flashes of the boxer vomiting, getting punched, being looked down on, and the manager's office. The man then goes through this door and we see the blood dripping before cutting to black as my future wife steps out of the darkness to torture the boxer once more. She says he was always her favorite, the most docile, the easiest to dominate, and always calm as a puppy. Cut to him having a looking at the girl he gutted, then to him cooking up something tasty in the kitchen. Next, we see him working out and time passing as he gets stronger. Cut to a new woman bound on the sofa. The boxer looks out the window as the sound of her torture echoes in his ears, and we see the end result. We see this woman's pumpkin face and then another one stuffed down the side of the sofa. Cut to the manager calling the boxer a loser. It seems he lost the fight, and while he says he'll do better next time, the manager dismisses it, saying there are no more fights for him.
Campeón, tú, mírate, no te queda ni sangre.
And there we have it, folks, the shot of the blood dripping that we've been seeing throughout the entire film. I really do love non-linear storytelling. Punching bag lady? Thoughts? Are you still doing that? Jesus Christ, man. Just text me when you're done, yeah? Cut to yet another woman bound on the bed as the boxer stands in front of her. He leans down, cuts her eye out, pops it in his mouth, and then... well, then he does something that I haven't seen anyone do since a Serbian film. He f***s her eye socket. While I like the concept of head fucking, I really don't think it would feel that good. But I bet it felt better than that. Jesus Christ, woman, what is wrong with you? Also, the movie loses points for not having glugging out of her eye socket there. Missed opportunity, in my opinion. The woman spits the boxer's on the floor, and we cut to him post-fight walking down the street remembering his beating. We see multiple flashes of the boxer having his ass handed to him when the final punch splits his head open, and in the street the wound begins to bleed. The nightmare woman's face briefly appears as the boxer gets himself together and continues on his way. Cut to him carving the meat off of this bone and hammering a screw into it, and then to the manager talking about his big chance, the couple, the bedroom DP, the punching bag, the opponent, the ashtray, and her guts. We then see the man admiring his new weapon and once again return to him stalking this fella. He follows him into this building, heads down the stairs and opens him up. Now finished, the boxer drops his weapon, walks over to the man's locker and finds his white boxing gloves. Taking them in his hands, he's violently sick on the floor, then walks out as we cut to him on the sofa witnessing the arrival of the nightmare woman. The boxer then stands to face the woman and the film cuts to black.
Así que ahora crees que puedes vencerme. Muéstrame sus puños.
The end! Well, not only was that movie really good, but it also gave me the opportunity to fill up multiple jars. Get yours on the Patreon now. Visceral Between the Ropes of Madness is a film I thoroughly enjoyed from start to finish, and while the story isn't all that complicated, it's the way the story is told that really hit the spot for me. Putting everything in chronological order, we first see the boxer as he meets his new manager and is offered a fight which he loses so badly his head turns into a fountain. This event is the catalyst for the boxer's descent into madness and murder, which escalates until he finally kills his boxing opponent and takes his gloves. Throughout his serial killing career, he is spurred on and tortured by the entity known as Judas, then at the end we see him stand up to her, ready to fight for control over his life once more. Makes sense? Putting the events in order makes it all seem simple enough, but the filmmaker decides to shuffle these moments around while repeating others, giving the film a nightmarish quality that I really appreciated. Images that seem like random instances of torture are given context later on, with the blood dripping, punching bag lady and the stalking of the opponent being the strongest. Thinking about it now, I guess you could see the film as the scattered memories of the boxer thinking about everything that has led him up to this point as he waits for the boxing opponent to leave the building. Although you do see him throwing up in the opponent's locker room earlier on, so that might not make total sense. The next question is, who's this Judas woman? Again, putting things in order, the first time we see her face is when the boxer's wound splits open in the street. This would suggest the woman is a symptom of the severe injury the boxer suffered in the fight. His mother also mentions that he nearly died the last time he fought, so perhaps this time the brain damage has caused him to fully break from reality. In the earlier scenes, he seems like quite a soft-spoken and timid man, so Judas represents the rage and want for revenge within him. She makes flesh the boxer's feelings of pain and misery, then commands him to go out and do the same to others. Then at the end, with the killing of the opponent and the handling of the gloves, the boxer vomits and somewhat comes to his senses, realizing it is not the world who he must fight but the demons within. And then there's the ropes. I would guess the ropes in their many uses in the film represent the boxer's perceived lack of freedom, be it social or financial. He doesn't have a romantic partner, a family, friends or a job that he's good at unless you count murdering women as a job. His lack of success in any aspect of his life makes him feel tied down, trapped and forever doomed to be alone. And when he does try to move up to become something more, he is literally beaten down. He uses the ropes on his victims to show them how he's felt his entire life, held in place. Then shows them his pain by dispatching them in any number of grotesque ways. In terms of the performances here, we get a solid one from Felipe Yaluti, who also serves as writer and director. His arc from soft-spoken man-child to crazed maniac is a gradual one that seems distinct in each of the 3 points in time. I genuinely felt sorry for the boxer in the earlier scenes, then these feelings evolved into disgust and eventual terror with the later ones. The man also transforms physically, and Aluti is not afraid to put his whole self on display throughout. Other than him, we have the victims who are all solid, the mother who seemed way too familiar, and the manager acting as the boxer's disappointed father figure. Everyone in the film is on point with not a weak member among them, but really this is the boxer's show and he absolutely kills it. Moving on to the gore, we get a very satisfying amount here with people getting split open and gallons of blood hitting the floor. What makes the gore a lot more fun than, say, Dr. Wolfenstein is the variety. We get the heart ripped out, maggot face, double penetration, human ashtray, skull and many more. Not all of it looks super convincing, but for a film of this budget, I think they do shockingly well and take it to a level I very much appreciated. Finally, we get to the presentation, and this has to be my favourite part. The sound design is great, with a couple of moments genuinely turning my stomach. It's shot well apart from maybe the running scenes, and the score was perfect, going from conventional piano arrangements to haunting drones and the more intense tracks. The real star here though is the editing, as this for me is what makes the story all the more interesting. I've already said how the jumbled up nature of the narrative enhances the experience, but I also want to give credit to the placement of some of the shots. The boxing training cut into the human punching bag being one of the best. Certain moments are cut together so naturally they could be the same shot, but it's only the scenery that reveals this not to be the case. It gives the film an artistic quality that elevates it above splatterfest to something a hell of a lot more valuable. In the end, Visceral was a simple film made gold by the aesthetic choices of the filmmaker, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's got great performances, better gore, and a delivery of narrative I could watch all day long. While I imagine given a bigger budget we could have gone deeper with the character and his past, but what we have here is thoroughly entertaining. I highly recommend you check this one out and try to put the puzzle together while watching the boxer take his victims apart. So that was my review of Visceral Between the Ropes of Madness. What do you lot think? I don't know if my bar for quality is just super low now after so many awful films, but I really like this one. Not only is the downward spiral of depression and violent mental illness always entertaining, but we get some dope kills in this one. My favourite being when the guy and the girl in the bed got DP'd. It's never not fun to watch a guy get his heart torn out through his back while his girlfriend watches after having had her face tied to his. Speaking of which, if you want to see a woman get transformed into a punching bag completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added all the time. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, slasher comic breakdowns, the Discord, and soon episode 1 of my podcast. And all that can be yours for as little as $2 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, but don't. If you want to pledge more, go over to gofundme.com/thebigstudio upgrade. I really can't wait to start putting out more content like streaming horror games, doing the podcast, and all sorts of other things. But in order to do that, I need to upgrade the studio, and in order to do that, I need your help. But yeah, if you want to see that sort of stuff, just click the link in the description and do what you can. And most of all, thank you so much for stopping by and taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and I'll tell you what, that nightmare woman, I've got some ropes to show her. And by ropes, I mean